Hello and welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Gwen Jacobsen and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 17, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. This week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press is dated Friday, September 22nd, 2023. And on the front page, we have a colorful picture of the Terry Fox Run that was held in Neepawa. Sunshine, smiles, and fun at Terry Fox Run. Neepawa's Terry Fox Run received a big response on September 17th. The results will appear in a future edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. Pictured here, ice cream treats courtesy of Dairy Queen were handed out by cancer survivor Jane McLaren and enjoyed by walkers of all ages. Seen at the center left, one of the young walkers paused to give a major smile to the camera. That looks like young Russell. They had a beautiful day for it. Stoney Creek School to look just like new by Casper Verhan. One of the Neepawa's iconic historical buildings is getting a long-awaited facelift. Stoney Creek School, located at Riverbend Park, is currently in the process of having its exterior fully repainted. This project is being undertaken by Doug Bodnarchuk and his company out of Austin, Manitoba. For any who may be unfamiliar, the Stoney Creek School was originally built in 1897, 2 miles west of Neepawa. Then, in 1964, the building was relocated to Riverbend Park by the Neepawa Lions Club. Since then, it has been used regularly as the Neepawa Lions Club room, as well as a meeting place for the Retired Teachers Association, a day camp for children, and on occasion by private individuals for gatherings such as picnics and reunions. Being such an aged building, the well-kept facility has truly withstood the tests of time and nature. And according to Neepawa Lions member Tom Borsa, this restoration project has been a few years in the making. We actually began planning this pre-COVID-19. In 2020, we knew that the building needed new paint and a roof, Borsa shared, but during COVID-19, there was only so much we could do in terms of fundraising. Now, however, those capabilities have returned and we're proceeding with getting things done. Borsa added, "We have sufficient funds already for the painting, which is being done right now, and we're close to that for the shingling too. But we still need to raise more funds for the shingles. The shingling will be completed as soon as possible following completion of the painting, likely to be in the spring of 2024. Until then, the Lions Club is welcoming any monetary donations towards the project. Those wishing to contribute can contact Borsa or Lions President Don Chuby via call or text at 204-841-3789 or 204-212-0395, respectively. We have additional fundraising plans as well. A community dinner prepped by the Neepawa Legion on October 20th, with Lions members selling tickets for it. And we will also be selling Christmas cakes in December as we have in previous years, Borsa noted. Also on the Neepawa Lions Club agenda for the future is the potential expansion of availability of building usage for private events such as those previously mentioned. People who have used it have said they really enjoy the uniqueness of the building and the green areas around the buildings. Plus, there being plenty of space available for kids to play and the privacy it provides for such gatherings, Borsa enthused. And here's a picture of the Stoney Creek School at Riverbend Park. This is Doug Bodnarchuk, whose business is doing the painting. Cool. Neepawa Chamber hosts Agassiz Candidates Forum by Owen Devereaux. So from left to right here, we have Progressive Conservative candidate Jody Byram, the Manitoba Liberal candidate for Spruce Woods, Michelle Badusky, and Keystone Party of Manitoba candidate Mark Wilson. They were in attendance for the Agassiz Candidates Forum held in Neepawa on Monday, September the 18th. So we'll read that article. The meeting room in the back of the Neepawa Public Library was filled to near 100% capacity on Monday, September 18th, with people interested in learning about the local candidates for the upcoming provincial election. Unfortunately, that same room was only filled to 50% capacity with Agassiz-based candidates that were interested in garnering those same people's votes. The Neepawa District Chamber of Commerce arranged the event and invited all 4 party candidates that are registered within the riding, who are hoping to be our next representative in the provincial legislature. 2 of those 4 were able to attend, as Jody Byram of the Progressive Conservative and Mark Wilson of the Keystone Party of Manitoba were present. Richard Davies, the candidate for the Manitoba Liberal Party, was unable to attend, but did have Spruce Woods candidate Michelle Badusky representing him. Danica Wiggins, the candidate for the New Democratic Party, was also absent from the forum. And it goes on to say, despite having only half the candidates available, the discussion throughout the nearly 2-hour event was lively and informative. The topics discussed ranged from how to deal with child poverty and housing shortages in rural Manitoba, to healthcare, rural cellular service, and infrastructure support. All 3 candidates explained their party's platform on the issue, as well as their own perspective on these topics. Some of these topics were from prepared questions, while others were brought forward from the audience. At the conclusion of the event, Neepawa District Chamber of Commerce President Carrie McPherson noted to the Banner and Press that the Chamber was happy with the overall response. The Chamber were quite happy with just how the forum turned out. There were a large number of people who attended and were engaged in the process. That's what you like to see from the members of the community, said McPherson. We felt it was quite important for constituents of the riding to be able to ask questions of the candidates and hear their responses and see how genuine they are about the topics we discussed. The Agassiz Candidates Forum was broadcast live on Monday night by NACTV. It will air again on the channel on Monday, September 25th at 8:30 p.m., Wednesday, September 27th at 3:25 p.m., and Thursday, September 28th at 1:20 p.m. As well, it can be viewed right now online at the NACTV YouTube channel. And as for the Manitoba general election itself, it is scheduled for October the 3rd. Now, still on the campaign trail, there are 2 submissions here to read. There's an editor's note. The following articles have been submitted by the political parties and or the candidates currently running to be the next MLA of Agassiz. The first one submitted is the Progressive Conservative Party of Manitoba. Building on historic investments into healthcare A re-elected PC government will invest $40 million into a permanent recruitment fund to expand Manitoba's rural healthcare workforce and meet priority needs for Manitobans. Jody Byram, PC candidate for Agassiz, said, "The Health Human Resources Action Plan, or HHRAP, was meant to bring more healthcare professionals into the system, and I'm proud to announce that it was a resounding success. More than 2,000 healthcare professionals are now on board in Manitoba. That's what a stable, experienced government delivers," said Jody Byram, PC candidate for Agassiz. This new fund for rural communities will build on the success of our recruitment and retention efforts by providing a stable, permanent fund to continue strengthening our workforce. The recruitment funding will help ensure staff coverage at the new $127 million Neepawa hospital, which includes an expanded emergency room, 63 acute care beds, and more space for surgery, diagnostics, and palliative care, as well as chemotherapy and ambulatory care, Byram noted. The project is at risk if the NDP form government, she said. Wab Kinew has promised to build almost a dozen new medical facilities without committing to the existing projects underway, without strategic planning or clinical backing, and with absolutely no indication on how he plans to staff them, Byram said. Not only is the PC Health Capital Plan fully costed, it's already underway. We know that healthcare wasn't broken overnight and that it can't be fixed overnight, no matter what other political parties say. With the new Rural Health Care Recruitment Fund, PCs have a plan to add staffing capacity to the healthcare system, whereas the NDP just have cynical vote-buying promises with no plan on how to staff all these new facilities in the middle of a worldwide staffing crisis. Byram added that the multi-year, over $3 billion health capital plan currently underway has the backing of clinical experts in health leadership. Wab Kinew has promised almost $3 billion in new spending already without committing to continue the investments. Wab simply can't do it without cutting projects or raising your taxes, Byram said. The PCs will also establish an $80 million healthcare recruitment fund for Winnipeg. The provincial election will be held on October the 3rd, 2023. Now, the next one submitted is from the Keystone Party of Manitoba. A new name has emerged in Manitoba's political landscape, with Mark Wilson running as candidate in the Agassiz district under the Keystone Party banner. Concerned that existing legacy parties in Manitoba were not representing local values and interests, the Keystone Party was recently formed as a grassroots movement aimed at restoring local participation. Reaching out to farmers, homemakers, professionals, and business owners, and hearing the need for a new approach by empowering constituents' voices, a core team led by Kevin Friesen of Manitou drafted the party's constitution. This road-mad, unique to provincial politics and passed at the Keystone Convention this summer, was designed to enshrine a clear set of principles and ensure a responsible system of checks and balances. Since then, constituency assemblies have been meeting with an eye to this fall's provincial election, including the Agassiz district, a region incorporating Neepawa, Kelwood, Glenella, Sandy Bay, Gladstone, Westbourne, Carberry, Austin, McGregor, and Treeherne. Recently, Mark Wilson, a farrier with a practice in the Austin area, stepped forward to let his name stand as candidate. I believe it's important to refocus on the core values that underscore our region, Wilson recently explained. We need a renewed shift towards solid economic principles, recognizing the importance of the agriculture sector and upholding the foundations of freedom so that individuals and communities can prosper. Wilson and his wife Patricia, who have been married for 12 years and have 5 children, are concerned about the province's future. Our province is rich in potential, Wilson elaborated. From agriculture to energy to being a vital hub for regional trade and transportation, and with people ready and eager to build and grow. And the Agassiz region exemplifies this, from the growth evident in Neepawa to the strength of communities throughout the region. But unless there's new thinking in the legislature, coupled with the real desire to see Manitobans succeed, we as a province will not realize our full potential. It's time to change that. This new mindset, Wilson said, needs to be reflected in accountable leadership. Earlier this year at our annual convention, we passed resolutions on a range of important issues, including how citizen empowerment is linked to governmental responsibility. One statement brings the Keystone Principles home. Manitobans are capable, intelligent people who run viable households and businesses, maintain and support their communities, and treat one another with dignity and respect. We have a right to expect no less from our elected representatives. As Wilson explained, the Keystone Roadmap is poised to reshape provincial politics for the better, and the voters of the Agassiz region are essential to make this happen. All right. Now, the Roxy Theatre has a couple of upcoming movies that I'll announce. On September the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, it's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. The film follows the Turtle brothers as they work to earn the love of New York City while facing down an army of mutants. PG. Show times on the 22nd and 23rd are at 7:30 p.m. September 24th is a matinee showing at 2 p.m. The week after, September 29th and 30th, the movie's called My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. Out of Helen's Kitchen by Helen Drysdale. This week she zeroes in on the vegetable called eggplant. The glossy purple elongated vegetable called eggplant originally came from China and India. Through trade routes, eggplants began to reach other parts of the world. The strangely named plant got its name from the British. The purple variety may be the only one you know, but eggplants come in a variety of colors and shapes. Back in the 1700s, early versions of the eggplant were smaller, white or light yellow, and the shape and size of a goose egg, which led to the name eggplant. Around the world, you will find oval, long and slim, and melon-shaped eggplants with white, green, pink, orange, red, and even striped skin. In the 15th and 16th century Europe, eggplants were called mad apples because it was thought that eating them would make a person insane. The eggplant is in the nightshade family like potatoes, tomatoes, and peppers. Purple eggplants are also known as aubergine, the name of the color that resembles the purple of the eggplant. Did you know that eggplant is a berry? What? Eggplant is naturally slightly bitter. Some recipes tell you to sprinkle it with salt and let it sit for 30 minutes and rinse off the salt before you cook it. Salting before frying helps the eggplant from soaking up oil. The flesh, being porous, soaks up oil like a sponge. The salt makes it release some of its liquid and close up its pores. Use eggplants as soon as possible after purchasing them. Eggplants are quite perishable and will not store for very long. Eggplant will absorb the flavor of whatever it's cooked with. The versatile eggplant can be roasted, baked, steamed, grilled on the barbecue, sautéed, or added to soups and curries. She has a ratatouille recipe that is a terrific side dish that's loaded with all of your summer vegetables. So the first recipe is called eggplant ratatouille with eggplant, onion, garlic cloves, zucchini, red bell pepper, and tomatoes from the garden. And the other one is recipe is grilled eggplant. So you can barbecue it. Or you can bake it in the oven at 425 on a lightly greased baking sheet. To try that. Now, there's a grand opening in town on September 29th and 30th. It's called Stellar Apparel, men's and ladies' wear. Stop by to enter our draws. On Friday, September the 29th, 25% off in stock men's and ladies' jeans. And Saturday, September 30th, 25% off in stock workwear and work boots. So this is at 243 Hamilton Street, Neepawa, open Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So that's the old banner building, I believe. An interesting time to see upcoming businesses. What's the big idea to return for its 8th annual event by Casper Verhan? The return of Neepawa's premier entrepreneurial event is right around the corner. What's the big idea is locked in for its 8th annual event set to take place on October the 12th. The event is to be hosted in the Royal Canadian Legion branch number 23, starting at 9 a.m. and ending at approximately 4:30 p.m. What's the big idea is a concept that began locally in 2015, inspired by Canadian television program Dragon's Den. Entrepreneurs pitch their ideas to a panel of judges with the chance of receiving grants for their business propositions. Cash and prizes this year total to approximately $40,000, waiting to be won. Entrepreneurs can apply from around the region, stressed Marilyn Crew, Neepawa's Economic Development Officer. I have one application from Minnedosa already, and I'm working with another one, so they don't have to be within the town limits. Businesses from Gladstone, such as Smile, Pinoy Foods, and even entrepreneurs from Brandon have also participated in previous years. This range of participation is credited to the diversity of the awards available to aspiring and expanding businesses. Any business idea that has sprouted since last year would be eligible to participate, Crew added. Any new business or an expansion, if they were home-based and now wanted to have a storefront, they would be eligible for What's the Big Idea. Those planning to apply are asked to reach out directly to Crew at the Economic Development Office, either by phone at 204-476-7607 or email at edo@neepawa.ca. Thus far, 4 registrations have already been confirmed, with 4 more pending as of September the 15th. In addition to the expressed business interest, Crew emphasized that all are welcome to attend this public event. I encourage people to come even if they can't spend the whole day. Come by for the afternoon. The pitching parlor starts at 1 p.m. and goes until all the pitches are done, said Crew. It is an interesting time to come and see what those new business ideas are and what businesses are going to be showing up in our storefronts. All right, a rural outlook page. The first one is Fall Market draws crowd to Anna Knoll Rec Center. The annual Fall Market, hosted by Riding Mountain Biosphere Reserve, took place at the Anna Knoll Recreation Center on Saturday, September the 19th. And then Gladstone held an event. The Gladstone Terry Fox Run and Pancake Breakfast got underway this past weekend, bringing a total of $7,887.50 towards the cause. In addition to a pancake breakfast, the event also featured items such as a 50-50 draw and a silent auction. Carol Pottinger, one of the organizers, extended gratitude on behalf of the team, stating, "We would like to thank everyone for the support and all our volunteers for helping us with this event." Pottinger noted that the total listed will soon grow, as the town's school will soon be hosting their own Terry Fox Run as well. And here we have pictured people attending a delicious pancake breakfast in support of Terry Fox. And here we have a picture of the construction continuing at the new fire hall in Anna Knoll. This picture from John Drinkwater shows the progress being made on the project. Possible completion of the new fire hall is expected to be mid-December. Oh, looks like it has 3 doors for the fire engines. And then we have some pages with meeting the teachers of Beautiful Plains School Division, Pine Creek School Division, Rolling River School Division, and Turtle River School Division. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. So I'll read a couple of articles from these pages. For example, what parents can do to be more involved at school. Parents can make every effort to encourage children to make the most of the school experience, including academics and extracurricular activities. Though students' level of engagement is ultimately up to them, parental involvement at school can be crucial for students' success. According to the National Education Council, when parents get involved in their children's education, those children are more likely to do better in school and be more positive about the school experience. They also may be well behaved. Parents wondering what they can do to assist at the school level can consider these possibilities. 1. Attend school board meetings. Many community school boards are comprised entirely of volunteers who work with superintendents and other personnel to advocate for policies and procedures for students. Decisions typically are up for vote, and parents can run for school board positions or simply attend meetings each month and let their voices be heard about various issues. 2. Attend open houses and conferences. Parents can make every effort to get to know teachers and other staff. Putting faces to names can help parents develop a connection to teachers and vice versa. Most schools have back-to-school nights, meet the coaches opportunities, open houses, and parent-teacher conferences. Parents can take part in these events. 3. Open lines of communication. Parents can ask teachers and other staff how they prefer to communicate. Some teachers want students to take the lead and reach out first, with parents providing support if need be. Adults can be responsive when teachers reach out. 4. Attend school events. Families can make it a point to support students in all endeavors. Whenever the opportunity to visit the school comes up, whether for a concert, sports game, trivia night, or a fundraiser, parents can try to attend. And number 5, volunteer. When parents want to be involved even further, they can head committees at school or volunteer with the PTA or PTO. They also can help in the cafeteria, library, or in the main office. Parents who have skills may volunteer to provide tutoring or mentoring as needed. Furthermore, parents can volunteer in school-sanctioned extracurriculars such as Scouts, BSA, or sports coaches. Involvement in school is part of being an informed and supportive parent. And also, how parents can pick the right backpack. Students need many different supplies to help them move to the head of the class. Teachers frequently post lists online before school begins or advise students in the early days of the new year. Therefore, parents may want to wait to go back to school shopping until they learn what's needed. There is one piece of gear, however, that students will definitely need: a backpack. Backpacks have been helping students transport books and other materials to and from school for decades. Backpacks are not a new invention, and they actually predate school. Otzi, a man whose mummified remains have been traced to the Copper Age, carried an animal fur rucksack during his travels. American Civil War soldiers carried bindles, and Henry Merriam developed one of the first knapsacks for the U.S. military in 1877. It wasn't until the late 1940s that kids started using backpacks for school, as more materials were available to make these bags after World War II. Backpacks are now ubiquitous on school campuses around the world. Backpacks are available in many different sizes and styles. Not all of them are created equal, and some may be better and safer for students than others. So here are some considerations. Look for even, secure stitching that will not come undone easily. Inexpensive backpacks may last a few weeks, but a more durable backpack can last the school year and beyond. Pass up backpacks with frayed fabric edges that could unravel, says Consumer Reports. Opt for backpacks with zippers that have fabric flaps over them to keep water and other elements out of the backpack, helping prolong its lifespan. Consider a synthetic material which will be lighter to carry and more resistant to water. Choose a backpack with lots of compartments that can spread the weight of gear out across the bag. Look for bags that have padded backs and straps. The padding should be ventilated so the backpack will not get very hot when the child is using it. Karina Wu, a physical therapist and owner of Active Care Physical Therapy in New York, encourages parents to choose backpacks with tapered straps that will conform better to their children's bodies. A waist strap can also keep the backpack centered on the child's torso to help disperse the load. If the school allows it, a rolling bag is a great way to prevent strain on the back. Very Well Family says children should carry no more than 15% of their body weight in the pack. That means a 60-pound child should not carry more than 9 pounds. Select a backpack that is sized accordingly to the child. It may be tempting to buy the largest one around, but that can be cumbersome and the student may overload it. Many students now use laptops or tablets for school. It is a good idea to buy a backpack that has a padded pocket for tech devices to protect them during transport. Although it may not seem trendy to do so, backpacks should always be worn with all straps in place to distribute weight evenly. Otherwise, strain may be placed on one shoulder or side of the body. This, in addition to choosing the right pack, can keep students comfortable and safe. Now the sports pages. Neepawa Titans closeout exhibition schedule. Look forward to MJHL regular season. The MJHL exhibition season concluded for the Neepawa Titans on Saturday, September the 16th versus the Portage Terriers. Though the Terriers closed out the night with the 3-1 win, the Titans still put forth a good effort. Neepawa now looks to the start of the regular season with a road game in Waiwasakapo on Friday, September 22nd. The Titans' home opener will follow the very next night against the Terriers. So the home opener will be Saturday, September the 23rd at 7:30 at the Yellowhead Center. Admission $15 or buy season ticket. Season tickets are $280 at the Neepawa Banner and Press. All right, Fierce Female Hockey hold camp in Neepawa by Ken Waddell. Fierce Female Hockey came to Neepawa on Saturday, September 16th at Neepawa's Yellowhead Center. Organizer Amy Dirksen said, "The Fierce family grew again. With every camp, we meet new and amazing fierce females doing incredible things to grow female sport in our communities. I'm grateful and always humbled by people's interest in stepping up and taking part." And step up they did, as 80 plus girls came out to the one-day camp and 30 plus volunteers stepped up as on-ice leaders and for off-ice activities. In an interview with the Neepawa Banner and Press, Fierce Female Hockey Coordinator Amy Dirksen of Brandon said, "It was great to come to Neepawa and work with so many people, including Marla Steen. Marla and I played hockey together and went to high school together in Minnedosa." Fierce Female held 3 earlier camps, and Dirksen said the aim is to encourage females to play hockey, gain confidence, and engage with coaching and leadership. The camp had sessions on more than on-ice hockey, including some gymnastics and art classes. So here we have a picture of them, the instructors out on the ice with some local skaters who attended this Fierce Female Hockey public skate. And the Fierce Female Hockey representatives are Jasmine Pounder, Jen Forbes, Amy Dirksen, who is the owner, Kateri Mills, and Bonnie Mills. A hole-in-one! Congratulations to Braden Gillies, who made a hole-in-one at the Neepawa Golf and Country Club on Sunday, September 17th. Braden knocked the shot. He knocked in the shot on the 4th hole, which is a 148-yard par 3. And also on the girls' side, NAC begins its soccer season by Owen Devereaux. The shift into autumn means that it's time for the Neepawa Tigers to kick off their high school soccer schedule. The girls' squad has already played several exhibition matchups, as well as 2 league games versus the Minnedosa Chancellors. The first regular season game was Neepawa's home opener on September 14th, which ended up being a 3-1 loss to Minnedosa. The Tigers followed that up, however, with a more impressive effort on the road, defeating the Chancellors by that same 3-1 score on Tuesday, September 19th at MREC Field in Minnedosa. The next big test for the Tigers will be this weekend when they host the Neepawa Girls Soccer Tournament. This event is set for Saturday, September the 23rd and features clubs from Neepawa, Swan River, Stonewall, and Morden. Tigers coach Jennifer Byram said they are looking forward to the challenge hosting this tournament will provide. "We are excited to be able to play at home this weekend in front of family and friends. It has been quite some time since NACI hosted a tournament. We will be playing teams we haven't played this year in Morden, Stonewall, and Swan River," said Byram. The first game for Neepawa is at 9:30 a.m. versus the Morden Thunder. The Tigers will return to the pitch at 2 p.m. to play Stonewall and then close out the round robin at 5 p.m. against Swan Valley. All games will take place at the soccer field located just east of the Yellowhead Center. Everyone is invited to attend and cheer on the local squad. As for the boys, the NACI Boys Soccer Club has also begun their season. In league play, the Tigers have played Minnedosa twice. In the home opener on September the 14th, NACI was bested 6-0. In the return matchup in Minnedosa on September the 19th, NACI was blanked 1-0. The boys team is also playing their local tournament this Saturday, hosting clubs from Swan Valley, Stonewall, and Frontier Mozacacan. The first game for the Neepawa boys is 9:30 a.m. against Frontier Macazan. The Tigers also play at 2 p.m. to play Stonewall and then close out the round robin at 5 p.m. against Swan Valley. All the boys' games will take place at the flats throughout the day. Now I have the Neepawa Golf and Country Club Sunflower Classic results. In the championship flight, first was Carolyn Hardy and Carla Richardson with a score of 69. Second place, Lindsay Jordan and Erin McCartney, 72. Third, Danielle Bell and Laura Lee Harris, 73. Fourth, Shauna Daniluk and Cheryl Roscoe, a 74. And in the first flight, first place, Angela Thiessen, Marianne Kasprick at 83. Second place, Jean Ungarian and Kathy Bass at 83. Third, Evelyn Bayet and Pat Gilmore at 84. Fourth, Marg Patrick and Linda Nakeman at 84. And lastly, in the second flight, first place went to Kristen McClellan and Michelle Funk at 90. Second place, Janice Meadows and Iris Anderson at 90. Third place, Bernadette Chabot and Diane Johnson at 91. And fourth place, Judy Davidson and Eleanor Muir at 92. All right. There. All right, Gladstone celebrates 100th anniversary and rededication of Cenotaph by Joel Asselstein. On July the 1st, 1923, that's 1923, Gladstone's War Memorial was unveiled, featuring a stunning hand-sculptured statue made of pure white Carrara marble from Italy. This particular location in Gladstone held significant importance as it was the intersection of the two main roads, including the old highway and two railways. This strategic placement ensured that anyone who visited Gladstone would be greeted by this magnificent monument. Interestingly, to make this spot truly special, the town requested the help of 100 farmers to bring soil to build up the land. This act not only made it a symbol of Gladstone, but also a piece of everyone's home. Fast forward 100 years to September the 19th, 2023, and the Gladstone Legion number 110 celebrated its anniversary with a remarkable rededication of the cenotaph. Leading the procession were long-standing Legion members Loretta Mayer and Orville Moore, riding in an RCMP vehicle. Behind them, the Gladstone Legion's color party proudly marched, joined by enthusiastic students from both Gladstone Elementary and William Morton Collegiate. However, a twist of fate, fitting of why the location was chosen, caused a minor delay in the rededication ceremony, as a train happened to stop on the tracks just as the procession approached, resulting in a 15-minute delay. The ceremony commenced with Comrade Beavington, delivering warm greetings and sharing historical insights. This was followed by a heartfelt address from Comrade Otto. Then, 2 students from William Morton Collegiate took turns reading the names of the 79 brave men who lost their lives in the Great War of World War I, the European War of World War II, and the Korean War. And Comrade Otto solemnly read the name of the nurse who made the ultimate sacrifice in the Great War. The ceremony concluded with the playing of the last post, a moment of silence, and then the sound of the reveille. A wreath was placed in honor of the fallen, and the gathering then closed with the singing of God Save the King. Fuel good for a good cause. Co-op's Fuel Good Day fundraising event kicked off in the morning of September the 19th at the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op Gas Bar in Neepawa. The fundraiser, which started in 2017, donates 10 cents per liter, sold to a selected beneficiary. The beneficiary for Neepawa's 2023 event is the Neepawa Handy Van. Neepawa's 2023 event, as part of the festivities, everyone was also welcome to enter a 50-50 draw. This is what they're doing here. And pick up a hot dog and drink. And here's some of the event supporters sit and enjoy their meal in the day's fair weather. Brews Brothers raising visibility. Brews Brothers, the popular restaurant on Mountain Avenue in downtown Neepawa, is upping the game on the visibility front. Located in the historic Odd Fellows Hall, Brews Brothers has become a local favorite restaurant and a destination spot for tourists as well. While the large new signs area stand out, owner Mark Mitchell said, "Wait till you see the new paint colors. The vintage trim on the windows, doors, and facade will be returned to their original colors, and at press time, the painting had begun." The restaurant also underwent a major expansion and renovation in 2020. Teeing off in support of STARS. Stride Credit Union hosted its inaugural fundraising golf tournament on September the 14th. The event was held at the Neepawa Golf and Country Club with funds raised benefiting the STARS Air Ambulance. I'm very excited to be able to be here and garner community support for a very worthwhile and important beneficiaries such as STARS, said Stride Credit Union CEO Brent Buds. Pictured here, 4. This golfer watches the ball fly down the green. Here we have STARS representatives Colleen Mayer, she's the STARS Director of Fundraising, Tracy Mowdy, and Angela Cuthbertson. And people here are signing up and buying raffle tickets for prizes. All right, we'll go back. Have a little bit more time left to read, so we'll go to this page. Oh, there's another area here about meeting the candidates from Agassiz. A publisher's note. The Neepawa Banner and Press has provided a space for candidates in the upcoming provincial election to introduce themselves to the voters. In the September 8th edition, the Progressive Conservative and New Democratic Party candidates' bios were published. This week, we have the bios for the representatives of the Keystone Party and the Manitoba Liberals. First, I'll read the candidate for the Manitoba Liberal Party, Richard Davies. He said, "I grew up less than 2 miles from the Agassiz border. where I spent at least 8 years of my life on my parents' cattle farm, where my family and I immigrated to from Wales in 2003. I graduated from Minnedosa Collegiate Institute in 2010, and from there I studied at the University of Winnipeg between 2010 and 2015, where I received a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. My relatively short adult career has been split between the hospitality service industry, private sector, and public service as the Director of Research and Legislative Affairs with the Manitoba Liberal Caucus. Most recently, I was the constituency assistant to Dugald Lamont. I have had many experiences and conversations in and around the Agassiz constituency, whether at beautiful Big Valley, at the annual 4-H Beef Fat Stock Show in Neepawa, or with friends in Arden and across the constituency. And next is the Keystone Party of Manitoba candidate, Mark Wilson. Mark Wilson, Agassiz candidate, resides in the town of Sydney with his wife and 5 children. Mark spent 7 years working at Circle Square Ranch, a children's summer camp, running their horse program before starting his farrier business, which he has been running for the last 8 years. After seeing how the current government bodies have been failing to empower Manitobans and support the prosperity of the communities they represent, Mark decided it was time to step up to become a part of change, to be your voice in the legislature, working to empower you. And here we have a thumbs up this week in the paper. Thumbs up to those who have done a great job of giving the schoolhouse at Riverbend Park a spruce up. The new paint looks great. Bernice Baker of Neepawa. Right, Homebodies by Rita Friesen. A new edition of Rita's weekly column, Homebodies, is unavailable this week. So please enjoy this classic column, first published in September the 6th of 2019. It's called Fall. I think that every time this season rolls around, I am astounded. Fall already? Where did summer go? I used to think that summers flew by because we tried to jam work and play, friends and family all into the 2 months that the children were off school. A little travel, a little hosting, a few bonfires and hikes, and summer was gone. I love fall, the scents and the colors, the feeling of contentment with the harvest garnered. It was a bonus year when the crops were in the bin and the fieldwork completed before the school year started. Could mean that we took a break for the September long weekend, like the year we piled 7 kids into the 13-passenger van and headed off to the Black Hills. The other evening, my walk took me past the lagoon and down the trail. Geese were gathering, gaggles of geese, practicing takeoffs and landings before setting out. There were a few dried berries on the bushes, a musty red, and some of the vines were revealing their presence with scarlet flames. This is a trail for all seasons, though I do avoid it for tick season. The dogs and I met the largest beaver I have ever seen. He was busy dragging a willow tree from the north side of the path down to the river. I saw him before my dogs did, and before he saw me. I was perplexed when he dropped the long limb and headed straight for us. I backed away up the hillside, noticing I was too close to his exit slide. He moved fairly quickly and gave the water a resounding slap when he reached his safe place. The ordinary garden snake is not my favorite creation, and the sly and subtle movement always catches my eye, and I exert my right as leader of the pack to forbid any further investigation. The season does feel different. At my age, I no longer desire to process crates of fruit, nor freeze 40 2-cup bags of corn, or bake 2 dozen apple pies. I appreciate the produce I grow to graze and the share but not to process. I have no pictures of the rows of sealers filled with jewels of Saskatoons, raspberries, or crab apples. I still long for a true trail crab apple, or the rows of pickles that would be devoured by spring. The little deep freeze would be filled with carrots, peas, and corn. The potato bin would be overflowing. I don't have photos that I can hold in my hand, but I certainly have clear images in my mind and heart. And so, as I witnessed my 73rd fall, that was in 2019, I wonder how many I have truly noticed. The goldenrod, the bulrushes, the rustling dried out corn stalks, the gradual disappearance of the songbirds, the gathering of the geese, the splendor of harvested fields, and the rows of bales. As I count my blessings, may my eyes continue to be open and opened to the wonders of each season. All right in the Center by Ken Waddell. This week it's called Corporation, Corpulent, or Corpse. A disclaimer, the views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as being the view of the Banner and Press staff. I find it interesting how the newspaper industry has shifted over the 50-plus years I have been involved. My first experience was in 1968, and we laid out the pages with typed out, justified copy printed on strips that we ran through a waxer and laid the strips on blue-lined layout sheets. Labor-intensive process for sure. We had to leave blanks or plugs in the places where pictures were to be placed. Then the sheets had to be driven to a printing press, and you waited while the pages were finished, the negative shots, the plates burned and placed on a press, and the final product spewed out of the folder. In the intervening years, the older generation, privately owned newspapers sold out to big companies like Glacier, Post Media, and others. To finance those papers, companies had to get a buy-in of financial hedge fund companies who had very deep pockets. Technology and buildings had to be financed, new methods of printing. When the ever-hungry hedge funds started to get diminishing quarterly returns, cuts had to be made. First, it was a few reporters, then some admin staff, then some page counts, until even some daily papers were left with fewer than 5 staff. Many local weeklies were also brought up and subjected to the same kinds of pressure. Manitoba, as I have noted a few times, lost 22 papers in the last 5 years or so. 20 of the now dead newspapers were corporately owned because there was just nothing left to cut, and with almost no staff, there was not much news and fewer ads. But last week, Ontario outpaced us all as Metroland shut down the print editions of 70 community papers in one fell swoop. Yes, you read that correctly, 70 papers in 1 week. Now, they say they will continue with online editions, but I have noted in other areas and have confirmed with Ontario sources, they are not likely to make any money with online editions either. Yes, there are many online products out there, but very few are making money. This paper is also available online, but most people want the printed product. Most newspapers left in Manitoba are not owned by large corporate hedge fund firms that will do anything to squeeze out the last drop of blood or the last puff of breath to make one more quarterly dividend payment before they leave the paper to die. They have to do that, or investors get quite upset and take their money elsewhere. Did you ever notice the similarities between the words corporation, corpulent, and corpse? Most of the community papers in Manitoba are family owned and have it figured out that leaving newspapers to the corporations isn't good for news, for communities, or democracy. Many of us who have a family owned paper figured this out a long time ago. That is why this paper works every waking hour to make sure local news is either covered or gathered. We serve our community, our friends, and our neighbors. Advertisers are served as best we possibly can, and local organizations featured on the pages. The printed page is still the most reliable and accountable news and advertising source. I am thankful every day that we have stayed family-owned with loyal local employees. I am grateful we didn't sell to a giant corporation back in 2007 when they came calling with big promises. I am thankful every day that we are printed by a family-owned printing press at Killarney. It's the only one left in southwestern Manitoba. This paper is dedicated to the local community and their needs and plan to remain so. So thank you for your support. Faithfully Yours by Neil Stroshine. Truths That Set Us Free, Part 2. In just over 2 weeks, Manitobans will elect a new provincial government. Once every 4 years, you and I have the opportunity to help decide who will provide political leadership in this province. Your vote matters. My vote matters. Let your voice be heard on October the 3rd. To these words of encouragement, I would add a word of caution. We need to do all we can to put an end to the blaming game and politics of fear that are behind the rhetoric we hear and the ads we see during election campaigns. Their influence can, in my view, do more damage to our democratic process than we can ever begin to imagine. Unfortunately, the two concepts are very hard to separate, as we will witness over the next 2 weeks. Issues will be identified, and those seeking to defeat the current government will point fingers at the Premier, Cabinet, and government MLAs and say, "Those problems are the fault of the current government. Elect us and we will fix the problems." To which the governing party will reply, "Don't forget what those who are saying these things did when they were in power. Do you want to go back to those days?" Sadly, there are grains of truth in each of the above statements. Above all, even a stopped clock is right twice a day. But these statements have a serious flaw. They put the blame in the wrong places and assign it to the wrong people. In a democratic society, governments are to serve the people who elected them. We look to government to provide the means for us to do together what we as individuals cannot do alone. So it is quite appropriate for governments to collect taxes and then use those funds to build roads, hospitals, and schools, and to provide the funds to adequately staff the facilities they build. It is also appropriate for governments to use tax dollars to fund emergency services like fire and ambulance, protective services like police and military, and to preserve as parks, public lands known for unique ecosystems or cultural significance. As long as people's expectations of government are reasonable and governments do all they can to eliminate inappropriate, unnecessary, or wasteful spending, the legitimate needs of all people can be met without excessive taxation to cover those costs. But in our affluent society, the more we receive from government, the more we demand. And governments, to satisfy public demand, will increase spending. Increased spending must be offset by increased revenue, which comes from increased taxes, or increased government debt, which means higher borrowing costs, which means increased taxes. After 18 years of listening to my father talk politics with his friends and 54 years of making my own observations, I have become convinced that the number one problem in our world is greed. It's not just in Canada or the United States, it's in every country on this earth. Greed causes people to abandon their responsibility to serve their families, pay their workers a living wage, provide their customers with quality products at fair prices, and exercise due diligence when administering funds donated to charities or paid to various levels of government and taxes. And as we have seen in past history, greed can turn trusted leaders into power-hungry megalomaniacs who become ruthless dictators. As individuals, as leaders, and as a nation, it is time we repented of our greed, asked for God's forgiveness, and then acted responsibly, loving others as He has loved us. More on this next week. All right, the last thing I'm going to read today is the Looking Back section by Caspar Verheyen. It actually goes back 125 years ago, Wednesday, September 21st, 1898. An interesting calculation was made by a townsman yesterday. He computed 30 threshing outfits at work within a radius of 12 miles of Neepawa. These are turning out an average 1,500 bushels of grain per day. They will be engaged at least 40 days and should thresh a total of about 2 million bushels. Alex Baird, who was butter maker at the creamery here the past season, left on Monday for Morden to go on the grain market for the Ogilvy Milling Company. An order in council has been passed by the provincial government confirming the redivision of the wards of the town of Neepawa. Plumas will celebrate its first civil holiday on Friday. The Neepawa Brass Band will provide the music. Another band of horses are to arrive for Perry and Gamble at the commercial stable this week. 100 years ago, September 25th, 1923, over 100,000 permits have already been issued by the Manitoba Liquor Commission. Well, Hawksley and Son have effected a complete renovation of the Rogers block and transferred their bakery and grocery business into it, making a splendid improvement to that part of town and impressing all observers with a feeling that there is some progress being made in spots, though it is not general. This Rogers block was a busy place in its early days, but has been a rather lonesome-looking spectacle for a number of years. Its history typifies the times. It was built as a speculation. It has been purchased and fixed up for use. 75 years ago, September 1948, the funeral service for Robert Richard Adamson, respected farmer of Spring Hill District, was held at Rosedale United Church with Reverend J.S.B. Nixon of Eden officiating. Born March 29, 1867 at Whitby, Ontario, he came to Manitoba with his father at the age of 16 years and settled in the Spring Hill District. Later, he homesteaded in the same district where he has continued to farm until his death. In 1900, he married Georgina Freeland of Neepawa, who survives him. 50 years ago, September 20th, 1973, a dispute between parents of grade 9 students at Alonza and the board of the Turtle River School Division number 32 is still unresolved after 2 weeks of discussion with the board and petitions to the Minister of Education's Ben Haneschuk. The dispute was brought to the fore on school opening day, September the 4th, when parents of 26 grade 9 students refused to allow them to attend high schools at McCreary and Amaranth, and instead set up a classroom of their own in the Alonza school. They argue there is no need for their school to travel up to 50 miles away to attend school when classroom facilities are available at Alonza. On September the 12th, William Larkin was honored on his 90th birthday by a family supper held at the home of his son-in-law and daughter, Mr. and Mrs. Albert Ronson. Mr. and Mrs. Larkin still live in their house in McCreary. And lastly, 20 years ago, Monday, September 22nd, 2003, smaller centers such as Neepawa and Minnedosa may soon be picking up the slack caused by long waiting lists for surgery in city hospitals. Some things never change. Manitoba Health Minister David Chomiak said operating rooms in Neepawa and Minnedosa, now used only 3 days a week, could be chosen for some surgeries the province wants to take outside of Winnipeg. An asthma fundraiser spearheaded by a McCreary couple has raised over $40,000 for the Asthma Society of Canada. And speaking of looking back, there is one little ad here. It's kind of interesting. It's from the Neepawa Creamery and Produce Company. Ice cream for dinner? This company sure endorsed it. This ad from the Neepawa company was placed in the September 21st, 1923 edition of the Neepawa Press. So this is 100 years old. It says, ice cream is a food. Make a meal of it. When nothing else seems to please the palate, ice cream is welcomed by the sick and well, old and young, of either sex. That is because it is a real health food in itself. Our product is warranted pure in every particular, with rich, fruity flavors and cleanly made. The Neepawa Creamery and Produce Company. Oh, it's so interesting to read those old things. Oh, it's hilarious. Anyways, that does it for the reading of the Neepawa Banner and Press this week. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you another day soon. Bye for now.